Looks like you can hear me and see me. So far, so good. Check 1, 2. Hey, Mary June's in the chat. So, this is the first time I've ever used the Bandcamp listening quote-unquote party function. Bear with me. Worst case scenario, we can't, something goofs or whatever on Bandcamp's end, in which case I'll just play the album for everybody. It's no big deal. Anyways, sorry for the rushed intro. I'm not sure if it like automatically plays or what, but let's see. Oh, there it goes. 7 a.m. on the dot, or 7 p.m. on the dot. I am the ghost that hangs around. Get to the throne and spit me out. And the yell hound still. I'll play with the visuals. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. That should be plenty loud now. Anyways, back to the scheduled programming of tonight's Audiomancy, the Lost album from REVEL ROSZ, entitled ROSZ AL GHUL. I appreciate your help there, Mary Jane. Too much fun. I have my cathode ray tube amp camera hoisted over there, and that's what's filming in the background. I've never been a part of a listening party. I feel, no, never mind. I was gonna say I feel like Kanye West, and that would not be a good thing to feel like. Oh, hey there, Don John Fonzarelli. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming. This music is from, I guess I tracked this song in particular, maybe a year and a half ago, but it's gone through many iterations. A 4-track version appears on Pragmagic in some points, and it's different today than it was recorded here. And yeah, those that don't know, this album was hard labored, multi-track produced by me, all in the dimming room. Recorded about 9 songs, maybe 10, and plus an assortment of many others. But after releasing this song as a song sigil and another one, I found the songs themselves changing, and through the hauntomantik practice, I started like self-sampling my even recent self and deconstructing the songs and turning them into the current iterations, which will be the proper debut. But this was supposed to be the first true REVEL ROSZ debut album, wide release. And for the first time ever, and probably for good reason, I decided to not release it for many months. I've been sitting on this album for a while. Let me know if that sounds okay, and if it's the music's too loud. But yeah, this album was going to be a collection of mini EPs and song sigils that came out as like a tethered whole. I'll turn it down a little bit. And then yeah, over the time, working with the artistic practice that I've been working with, and music, new elements, Divergent Magic Music Box, which I can go over later. Basically, this is where all the music kind of happens in the dimming room. Very one-man bandy. I can just sit and produce and play, from drums, guitar, everything. What you're hearing is me playing drums, multi-tracked. From a dim session, it was me jamming with myself. I hate that word jamming, but you know what I mean. I was playing with myself. And I sampled it, wrote a guitar part over it, cut it up. I've like ripped and skewed these temporal pieces of me recording, over the past couple years, and created new things from them. So it's like, it's not unlike sample culture, except the source of all the samples are me actually playing the instruments and whatnot. But I'm really excited for the new iteration. One thing I'll talk about, if you notice the play on, ROSZ Al Ghul, the Batman villain, has always been a favorite of mine. But I always liked, the Demon's Head kind of appropriation of that title from Neil Adams, the creator of ROSZ Al Ghul. And it also helps phonetically for people to know how to pronounce ROSZ, R-O-S-Z, ROSZ Al Ghul. But the funny thing, it started kitschy, and it became this album, or this kind of piece about what I call like the dark twin of my other project, Dakota Slim. So this is like, it's that scene in the movie where Dakota Slim kind of sitting at a bar and his, evil dark half comes in, and I'll take it from here kind of a thing. But the recent transit last August, cosmically, was the first time I had really learned and dived deep into Algol, which is, they have a kind of transliteration between Algol means the demon's head, and it's a star, and it's basically Perseus's, decapitated Medusa head, and the astrological realms. And so what started as like a kitschy, tongue-in-cheek kind of play on a Batman character turned into this like self-fulfilling prophecy almost of the album becoming really earnest about kind of hardships in the past that were by my own hand. And a lot of the new material is really about an old life, God, I wish I had an evil twin, says Don. Well, you do, Don. Goes by many names. Many names. If folks haven't yet, please subscribe to Don John Fonzarelli. Brilliant musician himself. Does really cool vinyl streams, but also beautiful one-man band, multi-instrumental covers from like Ennio Morricone, The Kids in the Hall theme song, all the good stuff, real good deep cuts. Oh, Don says 6'2" did the same thing for one of his albums on Ninja Tune label. I'll check that out. Yeah, I think, Dakota Slim needed to be kind of put in the ground for a bit because his story is supposed to culminate in this thing I've been working on forever, this kind of narrative. And it was like, I can't keep pushing that back. So having this other kind of perspective with, kind of similar, I guess, general aesthetics, even though they're not intentional, that's just kind of who I am. But it ended up being kind of a more assured, confident, experimental, magically minded kind of, skewed identity of Dakota Slim. But Dakota Slim's not dead yet. I will be killing him whenever Zobra comes out, which is this long-form fiction I've been writing. That's supposed to be his end, and basically, a big transitory situation that's very self-masturbatory, way up my own ass about, my own excitability with, persona, constructs of self, and magic. But, that's why we do it. Let's bring pretension back, everyone. People should try. Jackals and Vipers and Envy of Man. Hell yeah. That sounds great. But yeah, you'll hear on the upcoming album, ROSZ ALGOL, spelt like the star, ALGOL. Trans, what do you call it? Interpolations, basically. Interpolations of these songs that have been kind of mutating and captured and then deconstructed and then interwoven and then, breathed into something new. I really found like the kind of like majesty in keeping things simple as far as song structure and chord structure. Like the multitudes were endless when I put in some kind of barriers, as far as like my baritone guitar tuning, like a lot of things revolve around each other, but are so kind of drastically different from afar that when you really look up close, it's really surprising just kind of how connected all of the songs are. But yeah, this song, Father Karras, this was the second song sigil that ended up becoming its own little EP, and that was wide released, just like the first track. It's pretty interesting to go from this album's not going to be released, or they're basically, in my mind, considered variations, almost like high quality demos of songs that are, you know, that I'm writing now or performing now. But, you know, almost overnight, and after taking a break from this album, because once I finished it, I said, you know, I'm gonna give myself a month, I'll listen to it again, I'll add or restructure, you know, track listing or whatever. And I never went back to it. I spent like 6 months completely mired in something else and let this huge thing that I'd been working on just kind of languish. And when I went back and had like a clear head about it and walked around Seattle listening to the album, I thought, like, this is, not that it's amazing or great, but it was like, this is totally worth, you know, other people hearing. I don't need to be precious about it. It's not like it's going to ruin, you know, the kind of ulterior versions of the songs that I'm working on now, you know. So I decided to put it out as one of the We the Hollowed Hex cassettes, and that's what is being sold on Bandcamp. We are trying, and We the Hallowed, We the Hallowed Press is going to try to use Bandcamp as our merchant seller for the handcrafted stuff, like the audiomancy cassettes and the zines and all of that. So this is an experiment. People purchase a cassette through Bandcamp. I'm very excited to see how it turns out, what that process looks like. And yeah, the digital version of this album will only be available to those that buy the cassette, but I am putting it up for sale right now for a limited time. I don't want to, you know, be elitist and, like, you know, kind of discourage people that don't have cassette players to, you can't have it then, you know, even though the intention is to just have this be casted forever as a cassette and not a digital album on streaming or any of that. Yo, Jonasai, good to see you. Hey, Pins. Good to see everyone. Thanks for coming out. So yeah, this Bandcamp listening party function is interesting. It basically is just the cassette jacket here with and some streaming. Oh yeah, so this is another variation of a song called Sororo Star, which you can hear Mary and I actually perform as Moon Revel on the recent live video I did from the dimming room. It's a bit more jazzy and weird. That's crazy. So Leo says, this was the album I was waiting for all last summer. Glad to see it's still alive and breathing. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, so Leo, obviously my partner in Dim Zoom, so he's been privy to, you know, all the musical leanings and walkabouts, but people on Patreon have known about this album for quite some time. Different versions of every song and weird experiments. You know, one thing I can say is all of these songs originally came from the dim sessions that score those audiomancy chapters, or those haunt manual chapters of Prag Magic. You know, the read out loud kind of narrative haunt manual chapters, and those magical dim sessions or audiomancy dim sessions were literally the documented genesis of each one of these songs, which is, you know, fascinating for me just to see the kind of lineage of it came from out of nowhere, nothing, in an improvised, you know, audiomancy ritual, a part, and then over time you hear it just mutate into these kind of grand songs and whatnot. Hope everything's still sounding okay. I'm gonna check. Yeah, I'll turn the music up just a little bit. This is really loud in my other earphone. It's all bittersweet. This mercurial transitory. Oh, and that is to say, if anybody else, if you can't afford the album, want to check it out, if you really want it, and you know, don't have the cash flow or whatever, for whatever reason, don't have a cassette player, let me know. I'd love to send it to you. I can send you the full cassette mix, so it's seamless. All of the tracks, you know, morph into each other outside of side A and side B, which you have to physically flip. But yeah, happy to connect you with this. I don't have big aspirations or, like, you know, doing much more with this album. It's kind of, I'm laying this iteration of the album to rest on cassette tape that will be sold, you know, for however long. And preparation, it's almost like a teaser for the album that's currently being worked on, that I've shared bits and bobs of. Oh yeah, check. This is Disappear. The last song on the tape and what I'm calling the ROSZ ALGOL album. Just a 30-minute long tape, but this song was the split with Dim Zoom on the Hex cassette, and part of the Moon Rebel split. So also on the bandcamp. A little faster too, and that is because of time allowance on the cassette tape. And there's Miss Mary June singing in the background. Oh, what's up, Bobby? Listen Sounds great. Thank you. Oh, Mary June asked, what movie is being projected in the background? Well, I'm glad you asked. It is actually a VHS cassette tape with 6 hours of made-for-TV movies from the 60s, many of which starred classic Western actors like John Wayne, the prototypical. But none of the highbrow John Ford stuff, Houston directed. These are all like kind of shitty, in the can kind of bottle episode websites. Oh, look at that. And I guess it's over now. Let's see. It says, what does it say? Nothing. Well, yep, it started looping back. Well, everyone, that was the quote-unquote listening party function on Bandcamp. As I said, ROSZ AL GHUL is a 30-minute cassette. That's because I hand make them. I have to get specific cassette sizes to make them. I master them for cassette. I duplicate them here. I have a semi-professional cassette duplicator and a whole assembly line of the printing the J cards and cutting them out, and I try to highly individualize them for everyone. Oh, what am I doing? I have one right here. Actually, we can try this too. I'm having way too much fun in the Videomantic broadcast world, as you can see. But here is this. Let's try this angle. Let me know if you can still hear me. Whee! Hey, there I am. Way close. So close. So yeah, let's do this. And we'll go to white. Too bright. Check, check. I apologize to all the epileptics out there. On the Hauntomancer channel, you'll be able to catch a dim session I did, a dim meditation that I drafted, where I made live, audiomantic loops, mainly through the 4-track, and I have a cassette jogger that I was using, and looping through here. One plug and plug. We should keep scanning. Sure. Basically, I used, after hitting a certain stride of this audiomantic loop, I meditated with it using the visual setup I have here, and as you can see, it's blasting kind of somatically on my face, and so I had a good 12-13 minute meditation session. It was an experiment, and I recorded it, and I had a really ethereal and preternatural experience, because this, with the visuals, the light and the rhythms of my dirty video mixing and all of that stuff, and these really kind of trippy but parse rhythmic visuals with the audiomantic loop, was not unlike a Burroughs Geisen Dream Machine effect for meditation. So it really was a kind of a 4D preternatural experience. But if you haven't yet, I'll be putting all that out there hauntomancy stuff on the Hauntomancer channel, and that's just youtube.com/@hauntomancy. I'll put it in the chat, so please subscribe there. You'll get a lot of the music, the new iteration of ROSZ ALGOL, which is the ROSZ AL GHUL album you just heard, which I'm really excited about. A lot of the reason why I shelved this album, only to now put it out on cassette tape and not put it on streaming or consider it a wide release, is because the album that it's become or transformed into is really exciting. I'm really excited about this kind of interpolation or this evolution that it turned into. Anyways, why I changed the camera angle is because, oh yeah, here's my Eric J. Millar designed haunt tote I use for my grocery. Grocery. Ever hear that word? Odd word, isn't it? Sorry, bad joke. You get it, you get it. But I was gonna show one of the cassettes, and what I had was one of the somatic media packages that I send out to subscribers. Every 2 to 3 months, subscribers get new hex cassettes, handmade cassettes from, either the Hauntomancer audiobooks, which are the haunt manual writings and an audiomancy score. They get zines, from Eric Millar or I. The Haulers, which is a literary kind of newsletter. Lots of stickers. And so that's what all of this stemmed from. And utilizing Bandcamp, the experiment is to slowly ingest or offer these otherwise, very exclusive cassettes and micropress to whomever, wherever, made to order. And that's what this cassette tape listening party was kind of about. Was I've released it. You can now buy the cassette tape. You don't have to subscribe to the Hauntomancer subscription. You can just, buy the cassette. But anyways, I had brought in, here, let me take another look. I'm going to put it on the widescreen again. But this is fun, isn't it? Look at that. Getting all professional. Let me just see if... Good thing I'm wearing pants. Let's see. Got these little in-ear monitors because I'm so tired of wearing these big-ass recording headphones every time I do this stuff. Whee! They're really annoying to put on. I feel like Michael Stipe. In-ear monitor. Who do I think I am? Alright, so let me get back in here. Tape loops, constructing the actual cassettes and slicing the ribbons and recording onto them, and from scratch, like highly intentional audiomantic loops, not just digital whatever. And this is one of them. And what I'm doing is I'm sending these audiomancy ritual ribbons. I don't know if you can tell, but there's just one little ribbon in there. It's 5 seconds long. Sending this to certain folks, along with a divergent magic ritual write on maybe how to implement it, how to utilize it, to kind of inspire your own audiomancy practice, or to dim the zim zoom. So there's the divergent magic ritual write-up for using the audiomancy magical rhythm. I'm really excited about these because it doesn't get more highly unique and individualized than literally constructing the cassette, both physically, and also recording onto the ribbon. And so no two cassettes have the same sound on sound kind of looping. And I record those loops, in a session here. I'm getting fancy. I went ahead, and this used to be a fully analog situation, my Divergent Magic music box. But for the album, I'm going back to my youth, and I always wanted an MPC, especially if sampling myself in my own, me playing drums, and this crazy hyper meta hauntomantic self-sampling culture was like, I gotta get an MPC. I've always wanted one, and these are pretty affordable. These new ones, these MPC One Pluses, not the, you know, the real fancy ones, but it's got the hip hop cred for sure. But anyways, yeah. So that's what's the most recent somatic release at patreon.com/pragmagic. Did I do it again? But yeah, so ROSZ Al Ghul is now widely released. I'm still working on the documentary about this push towards the somatic, you know, initiative, we'll call it, through We the Hallowed. Just trying to inject some, you know, highly intentional, process laden, deeply purposeful, you know, even in the minutia kind of art, that, you know, a lot of people kind of tarry in. And it's something we've always done, as well as the, you know, digital releases and all that. But I think it's really easy to rest on your laurels of, you know, putting out digital music, or, you know, using these streaming platforms just to blast shit out there. And we're missing that interpersonal, you know, like kind of divine spark of snail mail even, you know. But let's go back to the full cam. Oh, that's what it was doing the entire time. But yeah, so this is where ROSZ ALGOL is. ALGOL. I'm gonna confuse myself. So the new album, it's not Al Ghul, it's ALGOL, like the star, ALGOL. They both pretty much mean the same thing. Demon's Head. Only the best words, Don says. Oh, you got it, yeah. The grocery joke. Lay grocery joke. But yeah, so I've been working really hard over here. 4-track, my beloved 4-track that I've repaired, is basically my preamps for everything. That's what you're hearing my mic go through, what my guitar would go through. And through, you know, all of these months and months of being quiet in the background and experimenting, I've discovered, you know, can record and stream and broadcast multi-track music. So there's the guitar. But yeah, there. So this is basically, in Haunt Manual, when I was breaking down the dim sessions, the audiomancy sessions, these live improvised sessions that I would do, I basically built the ritual, like not only the schema, but the actual choreography and the architecture of the audiomancy ritual changed every time. And I did love that, but it was like, there's something so sacred to me about being able to walk into this room, sit down, and just have it all ready to go, plug and play. And I have that. I have my dirty video mixer, you know, here. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of caught with the RCA, but I've got RCA cables coming into a little circuit bent machine that I can scramble my camcorder footage that's all coming from here. Broken camcorders, you know. These, I've got 2 projectors going. We could, let's see. Yeah, that's a little cooler. Yeah, this old Panasonic RCA video mixer was where I'm getting all my video sources. And so the signal flow of the Divergent Magic Music Box, of, you know, the Videomancy components, it all stems from right here, this conduit, right? And this source. And so I could sit here and I can control everything from one place. That is to say, that's not going to be like that all the time. Obviously, variety is good. But moving forward, it has been, I've lost a lot of sleep because I just, sit here and just lose hours messing with stuff, But yeah, there's some drum machine, little glitchy drum machine. On the record was that song Disappear, which was originally released through We the Hollowed Bandcamp as the Moon Revel split with Mary. She sings on the song. The new version of Disappear, like that's one that I can hear a linear through line of the song, just like the song craft and the production just, got more realized. Whereas like other songs on ROSZ AL GHUL, where they are at now are so wildly different. It's almost like completely different interpolations. They're not even versions of the songs beforehand. What do you mean, new project? Been having issues with my backup drive and this MPC. They don't like some of my wiring, which is unfortunate. Yeah, because I know people that have known me over the past couple of years or have saw my practice and like my constructing of these suitcases and these kind of like all-in-one little audiomantic houses, know how much I am weary about computers within this kind of practice. I enjoy more of like the haptic feedback of even crunchy buttons on an old piece of hardware. So I was thinking about this the other day. I used to, in 2004, there was a write-up about Dakota Slim, or 2005, in Portland, Oregon, in the Willamette Weekly. And it was a review about, I had just released this album called Hymns of Dakota Slim, and there's a song on it called Damsel. And the reviewer loved that song, but it was like this shit sandwich review, like in Spinal Tap, because as much as he complimented the song on the album that I worked really hard recording, with some friends, he married it with like a review of a live performance of mine at that time. And if anybody knew me back then, I was a fucking nut job. I never had a good show. I was like this glutton for punishment. It was never fun. Every performance was like pulling teeth, like this fucking dark, starving artist, I have to perform kind of bullshit. It was like, I never had fun. It was brutal. And in this review, he talks about, how my like guitar pickup fell through the sound hole. I can find it. Maybe I'll look for it. It's still online somewhere. At least it's archived. But like my acoustic guitar, my electric pickup for the acoustic guitar kept falling in the sound hole. There was feedback. I could never hear myself when I sang, so my voice was always terrible, even recorded, so that's no excuse. You listen to Dakota Slim records, you could literally hear my, like, I go through like a later stage puberty in my voice. It's pretty embarrassing. I digress. Anyways, all this to say that around that time I started playing with a laptop. And this was like before that was not like, that was a smart thing to do or an easy thing to do, because, I'd run like Reason, and I was sampling myself and sampling things back then as well. And I would, wait 10 minutes for the laptop to boot up. I would change the program and play music with the shitty like Hewlett-Packard old laptop. And it was just a nightmare. But it was the only way I could do that until I started just capturing those songs onto cassette tape and just playing to the cassettes. the issue with playing to the cassettes is you're always kind of locked into how the structure of that song. But all this to say is like I just have PTSD from computers and playing live, and it really soiled me for decades. And it's not until recently that, you know, my kind of anti-live computer self, you know, allowed the MPC kind of to come in, because the MPC, there's no, well, it's supposedly, you know, it's supposed to do one thing. It's just a music, you know, like production tool. It's not supposed to, you know, bring in all the malware, funny business, all this other crazy shit that a laptop can house. These days, I'm pretty sure you could do that with anything that has Wi-Fi. But what I mean to say is, you know, just a couple of months ago, I was still on that analog. Everything was cassette based. I figured out, you know, creating my own loops, cassette loops, in the hopes of I could physically measure out the magnetic tape so I could have splice me playing drums like perfectly in sync, which is next to impossible, I think, if not just a totally absurd concept. You know, at what point, like, is it, you know, for the love of the art, or is it just, you know, going up your maddening ass about certain things, which is, you know, par for the course with me. But yeah, I feel like this huge culminative, you know, back to bridging parts of like the analog meets digital, electronic tinged, but not, you know, fully their sources. So I feel like I'm regressing, but also growing up and accepting in that way. I'm sure all that entire monologue was boring as shit, so excuse me. Don says, that's a cool guitar. Thank you. Yes. I wouldn't mind having a baritone and electric 12-string. God, make it stop. I know. It never ends. My big obsessions, like, I've gotten to a place, and the reason why I wanted to talk about, you know, the Divergent Magic music box is because I feel like I've finally gotten to a spot where I found, you know, my guitar. At least this is like my major writing tool, and it has been for the last decade. So I write in baritone mainly in this, you know, in certain tunings or whatever. But, you know, I would also like to have like the acoustic that I go to. We have 15 guitars in the house, and I feel like it's a hodgepodge of whatever guitar whenever, if it's not, you know, this guy. But like the Yamaha 4-track, I think I've found the preamps I like. So this is the one that I like to do for live mixing. You know, I like the JX50 Yamaha amp. I love, you know, the sound of that with the baritone. I feel like I'm coming to grips with, I don't need multiple versions of things or, you know, this huge gear arsenal. I really just want pieces of hardware. I want tools that do a certain job super well for me, even though it might be not considered well for everybody else, but what I like, you know, certain Casio keyboards, that sort of thing. So yeah, I feel like my gear obsession has kind of morphed into more of a customizing obsession, like buying weird cables for signal flow and creating this Divergent Magic music box and certain like wood shelving construction and to house all of that. You know, the other kind of I would say, how do I put this? Non-pragmatic side of loving kind of old dead tech is how unreliable it is, right? So, you know, I've had this one Sony High 8 camera that it came out in 1986, and it worked up until a couple weeks ago, and the camera won't work anymore because of a capacitor issue that's famous in those old Sony camcorders. But it's like, I loved that camera. I would have to seek out that model and, the proprietary pieces that I sought out for this one, and all of that to gain back the certain, like, aesthetics or effects that I really cotton to. And that is so fucking annoying. I wish that I didn't notice when someone uses a filter to mimic, VHS tracking, or like, bad RCA, mixing. Like, this is real RCA bad mixing. And it's just so hard to duplicate. Turn that off like this. So there's a VHS, and then dirty video mixing it is when it's cutting to my other camcorder. But this is what I'm talking about, Don. It never ends with another fucking, the minutia. It just gets, deeper and deeper. These caves, they get smaller and smaller. The niches get fucking skinnier and skinnier and obsessive. But yes, Mary, I regress. I digress, I regress. But I love it. I'm excited by it. My day job is kind of the more industry standard for audiovisual, like, current stuff. And so, the dichotomy has always been my obsession, with, if I have to know, what the projection mapping software is in 2025, then, I want to, at the same time, investigate how to hard projection map with, making masks, out of cardboard and old shitty, VGA input projectors. So I have just a shit ton of broken equipment, is what I'm trying to say, that I gain every last ounce of creative, unique spark from. I'm looking right now at 2 camcorders, one of which is my classic one that still plays high 8, so a functioning high 8 VCR. The other one, like, water damage, that I bought at a secondhand store a couple years ago, and it gives all of this, this mess. This isn't just the dirty video mixer. Now, this is that camera. Oh, look at it. You can see my guitar in it. Sometimes you get a picture. That was pretty neat. And when it does come in, it's really exciting. But I spent last weekend digitizing all the footage I've shot in the dimming room over the years, from actual film. And so, again, all of this, I feel like, feeds into this absurd, hauntomantik, self-sampling culture. The fact that, these camcorders are camcorders that, even sometimes the same model, I was around when I was a kid, that sort of thing. Oh, I don't know why it's the listening party streaming again, but let's get over there. Here, I'll show. So here is the bandcamp, We the Hallowed. Help me sustain my addiction to old dead tech. I am a dead tech necromancer, and Mary's worst nightmare is I'm going to fill our next house head to toe with half-working equipment that no one else finds worthy of anything other than me, for very unique purposes. So please help me terrorize her with shit tons of useless gear. Cashing out my 401k to purchase all of Spokane, Washington's used camcorders. Not that I have a 401k. Sounds nice. Oh, to be middle class. What the hell is that? Um, but yeah. Um, so you could see I showed YouTube ROSZ ALGOL, ALGOL. But what I was gonna do is no, don't shut down. So, oh yeah, I was working on so a lot of the tracks because Mary and I played live, and I still haven't brought the MPC with me live. I still am very much analog. I have an old Boss RC50, one of those long, now completely unnecessary multi-pedal loop pedals that I store all of my, self-made backing tracks and whatnot, and do that old school where I can, trigger some additive drums and stuff. But that's part of the writing process a lot too, is, kind of capturing those and putting them together and framing them live onto my 4-track on cassette, so you'll have these like 15-minute fucking sessions of one song that I basically, shave into whatever they are now. But I have all of that hooked up and then kind of signal flowed into each other. So, yeah, so there's the drums too. That's me playing drums, and Feel My Horrors on the ROSZ Al Ghul cassette that just released, the second track. Those are the same drums, just different tempo. And all recorded right here, but, months, maybe even years apart. Any Name is the one that I still haven't figured out so much. Right now, it's this very kind of electronic, weird, lo-fi Detroit techno version. But yeah, you see how weird this shit gets? Is the guitar too loud? Let me know, because I can't really... If you could hear that. But yeah, so that's kind of like an interpolation of many named that still doesn't feel quite right. I'm not sure if it'll make the cut, but I'll keep fucking with it. Sometimes I get inspired, sometimes some vocal chants happen. On the Hauntomancer channel, there's Ectogasm a little bit. Hey. I released a 10-minute kind of dim session. It was really just me with the video art mixing many of these loops and demos I had, or kind of demo recordings of a song. But on the MPC, what I'm trying to do is a little bit higher quality, you know, putting stuff together, not so much that, you know, I have to track on the computer. I can basically take from the cassette what I put down, track on the MPC, you know, back and forth, do it all over here, and I don't have to mess with a mouse. God forbid, right? But let's see. Let me know if that's too loud. But yeah, this is Sororo Star. This is what the jawl is. It looks like it's peaking, so I apologize if that's too loud. So yeah, that's what that has kind of turned into. But instead of how I played it in Moon Rebel with my loops and being able to trigger them with my feet, which is totally necessary for someone like me, I'm trying to record it and work with it in the MPC so it's a little higher quality, and I can multi-track more than just having to bounce 4-track stuff. Yeah, I can also, matching my electronic these are all custom drum programming I've done with my Korg, my little minimalist Korg Volca drum, which I love. I'm like a maximalist when it comes to audio, analog stuff. Definitely a minimal guy when it comes to the digital aspects. I need just enough ways to make everything completely, you know, original or custom. On the Korg Volca drum, you can, with a fine-tooth comb, go and change every sound. You know? But yeah, so this is what Sororo Star is turned to. I had to put electrical tape in my whammy bar because I use it too much and it doesn't stay in place for me to come and grab it real quick. These are problems very few people have. I think Don has them. I'm sure John Fonzarelli has them. But yeah, I'm been working really hard, you know, on basically the updated version of ROSZ Al GHUL. Not to undersell ROSZ Al GHUL, whose listening party we just had. But those songs are shit. Wait till you get a load of the new ones. just because I can, I'm gonna just stick around with some music since I'm sitting here. Let's see what else I had. Oh yeah, this one, Circles. This I don't ever sample outside of my own recordings of myself. It's just something I've always had. It's just like I've never covered songs really. It's a very rare occasion, just because I feel like I'll butcher them. I shouldn't play other people's music. It just doesn't feel right. There's very rare exceptions here and there throughout the years, but it's largely something I've held on to. And it's kind of the same with sampling. It's always been sampling of myself. And I kind of broke that with Funboy 3. And, you know, their record really just kind of, I mined for a bunch of little stuff here and there. Very obviously on one of the songs, which I'm a little nervous about releasing, because I've never released something with, you know, another sample that's, it's not that it's a very obvious sample, but kinda it is, you know. I don't know. It's a new terrain for me, but this is one of them, and I really liked where this song was going. But again, on the MPC and not with the looping. I don't know why that drum saved, though. I don't like that drum. But yeah, you can hear the circle. That's old Terry. Old Terry singing in the background. This one's a little faster too. So the one thing I need to figure out, I need to get, for a true octopus situation, I can't hit the different sequences while playing the guitar on the MPC, so I've got to figure out a MIDI foot pedal. And that's one other thing I've been exploring, probably more so than I have over the years, recently, is MIDI, and how fascinating MIDI is, and how simple and kind of wonderful it is for very, like, you know, linear and minimal controlling digitally. It's like, you know, being magnanimous within the confines of like simple CV triggering and whatnot, which is really cool. But yeah, that's the other thing is, you know, having all of this wired together, capturing it on the cassette. Sometimes I'll just record onto cassette and won't even use the MPC, and then put the cassette through the MPC, and it becomes this, it's almost like a recording program had exploded, and this is its entrails. You know, like I've got the multi-tracking function, you know, the effects are all different hardware, whether it's like stomp pedals or like outboard boxes, and it's in this Divergent Magic Music Box, which I want to at some point take folks around the dimming room and just show the setup so everyone can see exactly what the fuck I'm handling over here. You can kind of view it if I put it on over here, yeah, you can, can't reach that. But this is the Korg Volca drum, which is all, I think you only get like 16 original programs that I created. Sometimes I've fucked up because I'll record over them and have to customize them. And I customize everything you're hearing is me twiddling a knob to find a certain sound, right? This guy I got on a lark. I'm not sure how I like it, but it's kind of my vocal effects, and I really just use it for reverb. But it's got some other fun stuff too. I wanted it because it has a little bit of a looping function. But it's never perfectly on time, even when I connect it to MIDI. So it's annoying. It's a little too fast, huh? I'm triggering that stuff with my feet, but like every good fucking looping device, especially in an analog way, you got to get real precise with it, and that's where MIDI comes in when it works. But I've got to figure that out. So right now it's pretty plain. I've got my old Yamaha. Let's see if that one works. Ooh. I have my small Yamaha keyboard here that I've been working on stuff with. Everything is velcroed down in case of earthquake. I don't know. Good old fashioned Yamaha Porta Studio, or what do they call it? Porta Sound. Yeah, like a Porta Studio. But it's these kind of keyboards that are my favorite. I got this originally so I could put it in the Divergent Magic music box, but obviously it's way too big to fit into this one. Let's turn that off. Since we're here, I guess you could wonder if you could see. Obviously, it's a claustrophobe's nightmare back here. You really have to move like a spider. But I want to bring up the glitch controller here, my little dirty video mixer. But anyways, I can't. Let's see this. Where did I have it? This one. So this is what I made the other night, and thought was funny. I was taking a shower and doing one of my like ritual bath meditations. It sounds a little fancier than it actually is. It's it's basically shower meditation. And this chant kept coming into my head. People always forgetting me. It's just like this funny like resolve. Man, people always forgetting me. And I just kept playing it over and over in my head. And I, after the shower, came in here and hit record on the camera and all of this, and like made this absurd, new song just from this weird little vocal chant. But this is what it sounds like. I'm a little worried to do. Yeah, here we go. I can see them playing, but I don't see it. Oh, I have something soloed. Ah, but yeah, this crazy, which you can't hear for some reason. Anyway, yeah, so this is the Divergent Magic music box and its many fun ridiculousness, as well as the kind of antenna to, the video art and the music and all of that. The hex cassettes will continue on. I make them here in the dimming room. I'm gonna be doing a lot more of the meditations, as well as just showing some more of the songwriting. Me just dicking around. Sometimes with an intentional audiomancy kind of session. Sometimes just document one of these processes that's will be kind of like a fever dream kind of marathon for somebody to sit and watch, but maybe good footage for documentarian purposes later. Not that I'd make a documentary about making the album or something, but just you never know. I've been really in a phase of collecting footage. I think it comes from, I don't have like home movies of me when I was a kid. There's not like it's not a picture album or anything kind of left, and no recordings or whatever. So it's been this weird tirade, this era of my life, to just kind of capture as much as I can, and I end up using it. I end up sampling and creating things out of these lost, kind of forgotten morsels of memories. I'm super interested to why this is showing multiple tracks playing, but I don't see any. And I think I know why. I think I had something soloed? Nope. Damn. It's gonna be something so stupid. Because that's the other thing. I've had to learn, learn the MPC these past couple of months, learn OBS better, so I can have these kind of bigger streams for things. Learning about the camcorders and what I can do with them. So I feel like it's culminating now, and I'm excited to keep going. I hope folks dig ROSZ Al GHUL as it was. I hope they dig ROSZ Al GHUL as it's going to be. And, I appreciate everybody coming down. I'm tired. I don't know about you, but this is basically my Friday, and I had one shitty weekend of work. And it's been nice to kind of regroup here, where things matter and where purpose is actualized, and bloody adulting and all that other bullshit can kind of wait. So I appreciate everybody joining me. Please check out, if you caught into purchasing a cassette, please try it through Bandcamp. I'm excited to see how the whole merchant process goes. Oh, wrong one. Because I want to know also like how much Bandcamp's going to take out, of each sale. This is a whole experiment. Otherwise, you can just subscribe to the Patreon, either the micro press for like $5 a month, or the hex cassette, which I think is $7 a month, and every couple of months, 2.5 up to 3 months, you get a nice package full of new cassettes. So you're paying like what, $20 or so, for a huge package of zines and cassettes and all sorts of stuff. Um, and that's been going great. I'm excited by it. I'm also, not really hard promoting the cassette sale because it is just me making these. And so, not that there would be, but if there was an order of a ton of them, and then I would be kind of, I'd be fucked about making them in an allotted amount of time that I would deem acceptable. That is to say, I can make, 10 a week easy. So I think this is an adequate amount of promotion for the wide release of a cassette tape from We the Hollowed Press that is put together here in the dimming room. Yeah, stay tuned for more. Check out the Hauntomancer channel. I'll be throwing up crazy, weird, experiments, both audio-visual experiments. I want to dive deeper into the dead tech thing and showcase, everything that I'm using and how things are laid out and the signal flow, both mirrored within, a creative practice and also within technical practice, like these streams and whatnot. But it feels good to get back to streaming. I was quiet for a while. Just really didn't. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons why I didn't, but feels good to be back, and I'm excited. This is fun now. I have way too much fun with all of this stuff, and I really want to do some kind of joint ones, especially with the meditation. So once I put out that meditation, the dim meditation, we'll call it, on Hauntomancer, and you would like to try an experiment where I stream a live one, audio visual live meditation, and like to be a part of it and on the stream and meditate as well, and also talk about your experiences and stuff, then please get at me, because there is something here about, especially in the synaptic kind of cymatic feedback of these projections hitting your eyelids, and tuning out to, these very like anarchic tape loops and audiomantic frequencies and whatnot. And more diligent me will over time kind of iron out, which frequencies kind of elicit what and all of that. But for right now, it's just kind of a, shoot from the hip, ramshackle. Let's just fucking try it and see what happens. So it's my favorite aspect to be in. My favorite aspecter is the tinkering late into the night with creative abandon and, seeing what the fuck comes. So I appreciate y'all. I'm going to go hang out with Miss Mary June and the dog and enjoy not having to be anywhere specific tomorrow. And that said, won't be almost cut it out. That said, good to see everyone. Thanks for dropping by. Please check it out, wethehollow.bandcamp.com. Subscribe to all the things. And yeah, here's a little Hauntomancer advert to shut you out. Haunt on, folks.